All right, welcome back to Prof E Plays. I'm Prof E, and we are picking up here with Dreadfarer. This is session number, let's see, one, two, three, four. All right. So just as a reminder, kind of how things can end here, right? You can either go broke, which we came very dangerously close to in the previous session, but we managed to sell off an artifact. We ended up okay, right? So we have $180 at this point. We're not dead, right? In fact, we still have all 10 hit points we started with. Our corruption level has stayed manageable, and that it's only a 5 right now. If we get all the way up to 50, then we have problems. All right. I also have this tin coin, which gives me a 50% chance of equipment malfunctions in certain for particular pieces of equipment. Pieces of equipment that I have right now, you can see that we have a machete, a hunting knife, a couple oil lamps, a Winchester, a climbing rope, an ammo box, a map of Motag. It's in the book Studies on the Lemurian Language. Okay, so that is that. Now, just a reminder what we do here in terms of our structure. So let me go ahead and pull up the PDF. So we first have to plan the expedition, right? So make sure we have all the stuff we need. Then we choose an area to explore, and then we roll a specific location and a remnant from that area. Then we figure out how we're going to travel there and acquire new gear that we need. Uh, since we're not going to be staying in the same general area as we have been in before. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip some pages. I do lots of going ahead, if you can't tell. All right, so first thing, I need to figure out what area I'm going to be going to. I'll look at the different areas that are available to me. Now, right now, I only have access to 4 out of the 6 possible locations. Right, so I can get to Sarah, which I've been to. I can get to Motag, which I've been to. I can get to Desangle, which I've been to. I've not yet been to Lazarak. So I think that's where I'm going to go. Right, so what do we know about Lazarak? Let's see. I need to flip some pages here. So it's the Lazarak Wastes. So this island, once a prosperous, fertile, and populated kingdom, is now a wasteland of black rock, spewed forth by the bowels of the earth. Okay, so it feels like this is kind of volcanic. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a note. We're going to be in Lazarak. Oh, Lazarak. It's an A there. Why I'm that worried about the exact spelling of a name of a fantasy land, I don't know, but nonetheless, it is true. All right, so I have my d20 here that I'm going to use to figure out exactly where I'm going to go. So let's go ahead and roll it out. So we got 17. Right, so 17 here. So reading down to number 17, it's the city of Xazar. What we know about it is that it was once a great hub of wealth and power before the calamity of the three ruins. I don't know what that is, but okay. Now all that remains of its once rich streets are crumbling walls and burnt bones. Not a single building or tower survived the onslaught of molten rock that swept the streets, and only ghosts remain here now. So it's a ruin. That's going to determine the type of encounters we have here. Next thing I need to do is figure out what kind of remnant I'm going to find here. Right, so from the island, it's the Lazarak Wastes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and roll here my d20. It's a 19. So 19 gives me, what's the name of the remnant? It is a story stone. What do we know about it? It says a large hollow rock covered in small holes. Looking into them shows a distant glow emanating from within. Putting one's ear to the perforations reveals a faint whisper that slowly and methodically repeats the names of the rulers of Lazarak up to the Great Calamity. It appears to have been distorted by heat, making the names unrecognizable and completely forgotten. So that's what I'm looking for. Right, so the next thing I need to do then was we do need to travel there. Right, so traveling gear. So our travel options, we have basically, since I'm traveling between areas, I have 5 options. I can either take a ship, I can take a plane, I can take the blimp, I can take a submersible, although the submersible, I don't think there's a specific there's a specific remnant you have to have, and I don't have it. And then finally, it could sneak into a cargo ship, right, which would be somewhat um, Can't see. All right, so right now I have plenty of money, so any of these options would be available to me. All right, so let's see, $180. The nice thing about the blimp, right, is that it gives you this basically an explorer kit is what they call it, which is nice. But I already have all the stuff in the explorer's kit, so I'm not particularly worried about that. So I guess I'm going to go by plane, and that is going to allow me to avoid any ocean encounters. So I still have $120 when I go by plane. I don't think I need any other equipment. I think I'm okay as far as that goes. So now let's check my encounter. Right, so flipping through, we are now in not the jungle, the wastes, or the wastes. There we go, the Lazarak wastes. We're in a ruin in the Lazarak wastes. Okay, so I need to see if I can survive this encounter. Right, so it's a D4 roll, so I'll pull out my D4s. We'll roll it. Got number 2. Okay. Number 2 says, scroll down. As you make your way along the stone corridors, you come to a strange room. Volcanic rock covers the room, encasing what looks like hundreds of skeletons. They twist and wind into each other, each one locked in a scream and made out of the same blackened rock. At the center of the small room, the skeletons wind into the shape of a large throne, and around the edges of the room, they hold large pots made of red clay and inscribed with Lazarak history. So I can choose, right, to either sit on the throne, right, or search one of the pots. Boy, I don't know. Like sitting on the throne feels like a terrible idea. I mean, like, no, I'm too nervous about that. So I'm not going to sit on the throne. I'm not quite that arrogant of a imperial explorer here. So I'm just going to search from the pots. What happens? So you struggle to reach into one of the large pots, the opening too small for your whole hand. As you push your fingers in, it wobbles and smashes to the ground. Oh dear. A hot wind seems to fill the room and the skeletons chatter around you. Oh, that's very bad. A shiver runs down your spine as something feels wrong. Gain 2 corruption. Alright, so I'm up to 7 corruption now. Inside the pot are several gold coins that can be sold at the next trader for $300. Okay, so I'm just gonna add that in now. Okay. All right, so what I need to do then, the next thing is I need to kind of develop the story. I'm here in the Lazarak Wastes. So I need to imagine City of Xazar and Story Stone and kind of where I found it. So the City of Xazar, the way that it is described is that it's really just kind of broken walls, towers have been knocked down. So I'm imagining here, right? So I'm just going to give kind of a rough horizon here, something like this. Right. Now remember, I'm not at all an artist, not by any stretch, right? But that's okay. You can still enjoy the process, right? So here I'm imagining kind of pieces of a wall. So there's just kind of some block here. Here's a broken wall. That's not how you would construct this. Let's see, then there's kind of this also. Wait, no, be here. Okay, something like this. All right. I'm also going to want to have somewhere there is here. It's like what was a tower has like completely fallen over, right? That stayed in remarkably good shape when it fell. That gives the idea. And there's what's left of uh, a window or something like that. The Story Stone. The Story Stone had a really interesting description in that, like, my first thought, it says it's hollowed out, right? So I'm imagining something kind of bowl-like. It's the Story Stone, it looks kind of bowl-like. and there are tiny holes through it. So what I'm imagining, what is actually happening here, is that the way this quote unquote works from a non-mystical perspective, right, is that the wind, right, comes through these holes, right, and that's what makes sounds. But because this has been warped, as we know, just give a little bit of shading here as well. But because we know that it's been warped, and that's distorting the sound of it. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I like that. All right, cool. Okay, so we've got there. Now, what else do we know in terms of process? I think when I return, let's see. Okay, the expedition. So we did the travel. We reached the remnant. I wrote down. Okay, how and where we found the artifact and dangers we met along the way. Right. So I'm thinking this was actually inside. So I'm imagining. Okay, this would be just like part of one building. Let's actually draw another building. So I know that like the original house that I'm imagining would be something like you know something like this. Right, but it's not all there anymore. So like certainly like the roof is gone, right? So there's now just kind of these empty walls here, right? And I think a good part of these walls is just gone as well. So imagining here, like this is all broken in, like this would be broken down as well. It's like that corner is gone. Probably true over here as well. There would be some walls inside too, most likely. So I'm imagining here that this bowl was in. Okay, so the story stone is found in one of the homes in the city of Xazar. Now we have to decide what we're going to do with the thing when we return with it. Now, let's remember what our options are. Right, so flipping through on return, I have four options. One thing I can do is that I could return it right to the culture or resting place if it exists. Right, so I mean, I'm going to assume that there are remnants of the Lazarek culture that exist that we could return this to. Right. If that's true, if I do that, then I get to roll a d4. I remove that much corruption. It doesn't remove any curses, but that's what happens. I could donate it, right, to the Lemurian Museum in Motag, which allows them to display it. Others can learn from it. And that, it gets me a little bit of money, not a whole lot of money, but somewhere between $5 and $100. But I get a corruption for that. I could auction it off, which gives me significantly more money, but also means that I gain significantly more corruption, or finally, I can just pocket the thing. Now, in my mind, I don't see that this is going to be particularly useful in itself, right? Right. So, like, as far as I know, it is not one of the remnants that I need. Not the remnants. Yeah, yeah. It's not one of the relics or remnants that I need to. Yeah, I just realized this looks like a rocket ship. Who knows? Who knows? So in any case, I think it makes sense for me at this point. My money's looking okay. Just return it. I think that's what I want to do. Right. So I'm going to return it to try to keep my corruption under control. Right. So turning back then to the beginning. Okay, my corruption had gotten up to 7. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this. I get to erase 4 points of corruption, so I'm down to 3. Right, so I'm keeping a real tight uh, hold on my corruption. Meanwhile, I have plenty of money, so $420, that's fine. Uh, My HP, like I said, it's not even touched yet. So I think we're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I'm happy about what this is looking like right now. Right. So I think that that is that. Right. So we made it through our fourth. I think like this, we're going shockingly well right now. Um, like now, remember the series doesn't. That technically, this game doesn't end until you fill the sketchbook. So I have plenty of space here for things to start going very, very wrong. I already almost ran out of money. At the moment, I'm not feeling that concerned about that, right? But it's possible. Right. So let's go ahead and call it a day. So this is Prof E signing off.